We'll start from Yerushalmi Ma'aser at the bottom. Over there. 3 lines to the bottom. No, 3 lines to the bottom. Tani bar kapara. Tani bar kapara. Learn to Tani usually means a. Ma'aser Sheni going into Yerushalmi becoming Tameh. When he redeemed and when not. Whether it became Tameh in Yerushalmi or outside Yerushalmi, and what kind of tumah it became. Now, truth is, what we're going to learn now is a major issue, and which is completely new and radical to me, but it's very, very important. Can't overestimate the importance of this machlokas. Tani bar kapara says, Avatuma dvar Torah. That an avatuma is metame something is doraisa. That a vlada tuma is metame. A vlada is a rishon, right? The av is primary, right? The mace, the dead corpse is avi avos, is a sort of the grandfather, and a zav, or a person who touched the mace, or a sheret, and dead rodents. Those are all av. And anything they touch is a rishon. Now, a rishon is doraisa. When an av touches a rishon, av touches something else, that it makes a rishon doraisa. A rishon is metame things. But it says bar kapara, whatever rishon is metame is only the rabbanan, not doraisa. It's an amazing concept. Rabbi Yochanan argues, much more conventional Rabbi Yochanan. He says, Rabbi Yochanan are bein zeh v'zeh dvar Torah. Both of them are doraisa. Both Av and Rishon are doraisa. Okay? Now, that means that a sheni l'tuma, the concept of a sheni, we've learned sheni about sheni many times. The sheni, according to, you do not remember where it is? Whatever Rishon touches, right? So that's only according to Rabbi Kapara, the whole concept of Sheni is only the Rabbanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the concept of Sheni is the Raisa. Okay? So V'kash the Beis Shammai Rabbi Yochanan. It's difficult for a Beis Shammai on Rabbi Yochanan. The Beis Shammai says, Hakol yipodeh, anything which becomes Tomei, any Ma'aser Sheni becomes Tomei, should be redeemed. V'yochal bifnim, and you eat the redeemed substance. Now, the redeemed substance is now completely profane. It's completely chulin, because the kedusha was now on the money, right? So you redeemed the Ma'aser Sheni, and the kedusha went on the money. Now you have tamei chulin. It's chulin though. You still could have have to eat inside your shlime, within the walls. You can't eat outside the walls, except chutz mishenitma ba'avatum v'chutz. If it has 2 reasons to be lenient: A, it became tomei with an avatuma, with an av specifically. That means it itself is a rishon. B, it became tomei outside Yerushalmi, before you brought it into Yerushalmi. So it says 2 reasons. In those 2 cases, it has both of those advantages. Then after you redeem it, you can remove the food from Yerushalmi and eat it outside Yerushalmi. So this is a difficulty on Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that a rishon. What? No, Rabbi Yochanan said that Vlada Tuma is doraisa. That which touches a rishon, Vlad only means a child. Here means a rishon. That which touches the Vlada Tuma is doraisa. That's the case. Why draw the dichotomy between that which Ma'aser Sheni which became Tomei because it touched an Av, and Ma'aser Sheni which became Tomei because it touched a rishon or Vlad? They should both be the same, since both those tumas are doraisa, right? Ma'avin Vlada Tuma b'chutz, u'ma'avin Ava Tuma b'chutz. V'zeh lo dvar Torah, who aren't both doraisa. So since both are doraisa, what's the difference? Okay, you understand the question on Rabbi Yochanan? V'afilu al divrei Beis Hillel, lo mekashya. Even according to the word to Beis Hillel, is it not difficult? To Beis Hillel Amrin, Beis Hillel said in our Mishnah, Hakol yipodeh v'yochal b'chutz. Everything can be redeemed. and eaten outside Yerushalayim. So it's he is the Beis Shammai. He holds any Ma'aser Sheni came Tamei may be redeemed, and it may be consumed outside Yerushalayim. Chutz, with the exception of Shenitma Bivlada Tuma, to Ma'aser which became Tamei with a lighter Tuma, meaning of Vlada Tuma, the Rishon L'Tuma, it touched the Rishon, and it became Tamei already Bifnim after it entered Yerushalayim. So in that case, Beis Hillel holds that's the only case which once you redeem the food, you may not take it outside Yerushalayim in order to eat it. Ma vein vlad hatuma bifnim, uma bein av hatuma bifnim. According to Rabbi Yochanan, this too is difficult. What's the if both are d'oraisa? So what's the difference if that which occurred inside Yerushalayim was a tumah which came about as a result of contact with a vlad, meaning a rishon, or a tumah which came about as a result of contact with an av? Are not both tumas d'oraisa? So what distinction is there? Lo havi be rabbanon. The rabbis cannot be understood Elal the Bar Kapara, unless you accept Bar Kapara's position that there's a dichotomy between an Av, that which comes in contact with an Av is the Raisa, and that which comes in contact with the Vla, which is only the Rabbanon.
What we're doing is taking the Tomei, and redeeming it.
It's not yet Chulin. The Tomei, it's Tomei what?
Not much.
Yeah. The Ma'aser Sheni becomes Tomei, redeeming the Ma'aser Sheni.
When you exchange the money,
you exchange the money you bought something, then it became Tomei.
No, when you exchange money you bought something, you sold it. Ma'aser Sheni, then it becomes Tomei?
Yes.
Okay, so Ma'aser Sheni is Tomei.
Right.
And you can redeem that?
Because it became Tomei. Normally you can't redeem it. Normally you must eat it. But you're not allowed to eat Tomei. Now let's eat Tomei Ma'aser Sheni.
So how do you redeem it?
The same way you redeemed the initial fruit. When you initially redeemed your fruit outside Yerushalayim, how did you redeem it? You took money and redeemed it, right? Right. Do it again. Same idea. No magic.
Solid concept. I used to think of redeeming selling it to somebody.
Right, but it's not in this case. That's right.
Right, so that's why it's
self-contained process. Okay? Now we're up to V'kasha the Bar Kapara the Beis Shammai. V'kasha the Bar Kapara. V'kasha the Bar Kapara the Beis Shammai. The truth is, according to Bar Kapara, we can also ask about Bar Kapara from Beis Shammai. The Beis Shammai Beis Shammai says, Hakol yipodeh, everything may be redeemed, v'yochal bifnim, and eaten inside Yerushalayim. Chutz everything must be redeemed and eaten inside Yerushalayim. Chutz, with the exception of mishenitma ba'avatum b'chutz, of that which became tomei with an avatuma outside Yerushalayim. So as the Gemara, according to Bar Kapara, ma ben avatuma livlad hatuma. I don't understand. What's the difference between avatuma and vlad tuma? The difference between av and between rishon, bein b'chutz, bein bifnim. Whether it's outside or inside. Zev is lo dvar Torah. Is it? It's going Bar Kapara now. Just a second. Yeah, he takes out. That's right. Okay. The Reb Chaim Kanievsky brings down from the Gra. They're very important. Otherwise, this Gemara is unintelligible. To make Ma ben avatuma, taking out the next two words. Ma ben avatuma bein bachutz ben bifnim. Ma ben avatuma ben b'chutz ben bifnim. Hi. Make this clear again. Avatuma, avia vosatuma is only a mace. An avatuma is somebody touches a mace, a sheretz, a zav. Yeah, okay, that's all by mace, right? But sheretz, a zav, sheretz, dead rodents, zav, a zava, a nida, mitzora, all those, so some leper, all those are avatuma. Yeah, Rishon is anything which touched any of that. Okay? And then a Sheni is anything which touched a Rishon. And so on. So the Rabbi Yochanan holds that anything which touches an Av becomes Tamei Midoraisa, and anything which touches a Rishon becomes Tamei Midoraisa. Not anything, there are exceptions. Like Rishon is only Metame Ochel Umashke, only food and beverage, not Odom V'Kelim, not people or vessels. But whatever it's Metame, Rabbi Yochanan holds it's Metame Doraisa. Bar Kapara holds it's Metame only Midrabana, not Midoraisa. And the Gemara has come to the tentative conclusion that Bar Kapara is correct based on our Mishnah, because our Mishnah distinguishes between Ma'aser Sheni became Tomei with Avatuma, and Ma'aser Sheni became Tomei based on Vlada Tuma. So therefore, that can only work according to Rabbi Bar Kapara, who says that one is the Raisa and one is the Rabban. It can't work according to Rabbi Yochanan, who says both are the Raisa. Whatever severity applies to one should apply to the other. Okay? That's what the Gemara has done so far. Is that clear? Okay. Now the Gemara asks on Bar Kapara. The Gemara asks on Bar Kapara, V'kasha the Bar Kapara al the Beis Shammai. How so? Bar Kapara is difficult from Beis Shammai. The Shammai says, you have it? Hakol yipodeh, everything can be redeemed. B'yochel b'fnim, it can be inside Yerushalayim. Now the talk about Ma'aser Sheni became Tomei, and you're allowed to redeem it. Normally not allowed to redeem Ma'aser Sheni in Yerushalayim, but this is a special halacha. If it became Tomei, you're allowed to redeem it. Then you eat it inside Yerushalayim. You take the money and buy new Ma'aser Sheni. So says the Gemara, according to Beis Shammai, it says everything can be redeemed, but must be eaten inside. Chutz b'shnei b'avatuma b'chutz, except that you came Tomei with an avatuma outside Yerushalayim. There we have both advantages. So Beis Shammai says you can redeem the Ma'aser Sheni, buy new food with the money, take the redeemed Ma'aser Sheni, which is now chulin, and eat it outside Yerushalayim. Ma ben avatuma. Now here the next two words the Gra takes out, very important. Ma ben avatuma ben lachutz, ben labachutz, ben bifnim. I don't understand, says the Gemara. If you're going to say that avatuma is doraisa, so and that means that the tumah now is truly defiled. So what difference does it make if the tumah occurred to the Ma'aser Sheni inside Yerushalayim or outside Yerushalayim? Are they both not doraisa? What's the difference between the two? So it says Shelo you omrim, that people shouldn't say Rinu Ma'aser Sheni shnichnas v'yotza, that we saw Ma'aser Sheni which was good go into Yerushalayim and come out again. In other words, if people saw that the tumah took place outside Yerushalayim before it entered Yerushalayim, some people wouldn't be able to understand. It would be tolerable, right, to remove it from Yerushalayim again after it's redeemed, because we said, it was Tamei before it even entered Yerushalayim. But if the tumah occurred inside Yerushalayim, some people will see you taking it outside Yerushalayim again, and they won't know it became Tamei when you were inside, because they don't know what happened while you were inside Yerushalayim. So therefore, it looks like you're taking bona fide Ma'aser Sheni outside Yerushalayim. That's why Beis Shammai does not allow it. The only time they allow you to take the Ma'aser Sheni again out of Yerushalayim is where the tumah occurred before you went into Yerushalayim in the first place. Okay, because then people outside Yerushalayim know, because they saw it, that this was Tamei stuff, and that's why you bring it back out. Okay? Says, well, no, that's nice, but I still don't like it. you know what? Let's not allow you even to redeem Ma'aser Sheni, which became Tomei. At all. Shelo Yomrin, so people shouldn't say, Ra'inu Ma'aser Sheni nichnas Yerushalayim v'nifta. That we saw Ma'aser Sheni going to Yerushalayim and was redeemed. In other words, if once you're afraid what people are going to say, so be afraid that if people see you redeeming Ma'aser Sheni, excuse me, not everybody will know that became Tomei. And people are going to think you're redeeming stuff which was not Tomei, which is forbidden. Ella says we're a different distinction. You know why? The word Ella is nothing more, but it's as if it's there. You know why? You know why there's difference whether it became Tomei inside Yerushalayim or outside Yerushalayim? It's taka difference midrabanan, but it's a nice lomdisha difference. It's a logical difference. B'shah shenitma bifnim. It became Tomei inside Yerushalayim, the mechitza tofsaso. The walls already caught it up when it was tahor, and therefore cannot no longer be taken outside Yerushalayim. B'shah shenitma b'chutza was Tomei, where it became Tomei prior to entering Yerushalayim, outside Yerushalayim. The walls cannot, they never grabbed onto it. And that's why you can leave Yerushalayim again. Okay, fine. Good answers. But now, afilu at the Beis Hillel, leishud bekashya. How does Beis Hillel work out according to Bar Kapor? Either. The Beis Hillel says, hakol yipodev yochal b'chutz. Anything can be redeemed and eaten outside Yerushalayim. Chutz mishenitma bevlada tumah ifnim. Now he's very lenient. He says no matter what kind of tumah it had, it can be redeemed and eaten outside Yerushalayim unless it has a double disadvantage. It became Tomei only with a vlad, only touched the Rishon, which is already according to Bar Kapor, only Drabanan, and that tumah occurred inside Yerushalayim. So now the Gemara asks the opposite question asked previously. Ma bein vlada tumah bein b'chutz bein b'ifnim zeh v'zeh lo b'divrenu. What's if it came to contact with the Rishon inside Yerushalayim or outside Yerushalayim? Regardless, the whole tumah is Drabanan. Either right, so this is perfectly kosher and tar Ma'aser Sheni. How can you possibly take it outside Yerushalayim?
He sends out money.
It's only Tomei D'Rabbanan. It's not Tomei D'Oraisa.
He's the judge.
How can you, once you redeem it, how can you take it out to Yerushalayim? The redemption is not about redemption D'Oraisa. Because once a son uses Ma'aser Sheni inside Yerushalayim, you're only allowed to redeem it if he becomes Tomei. Well, this there became truly Tomei, it only became Tomei D'Rabbanan. So redemption shouldn't be valid. How can you take it outside Yerushalayim?
Maybe Rabban Tumah is enough to keep the walls from giving it to Kedusha.
Maybe the Gemara's answer is better than yours, but it's on the same idea, same tracks. Says the Gemara, Kshich Nisan. When we brought it into Yerushalayim, you brought it in Yerushalayim with the intent, since you already told me the Tumah D'Rabbanan, outside Yerushalayim, in that case, I say, your intent was not to have the walls have an impact upon it. It's interesting because we see from here that your kavanah, your intent can have an impact on whether the walls work or not. So when it became Tomei outside Yerushalayim, says Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, even though it's a Tumah D'Rabbanan, but your intent was already that the wall should not absorb it. When it became Tomei, even with the Tumah D'Rabbanan inside the walls, no, when it comes to Tomei specifically the Tumah D'Rabbanan inside the walls, so then the walls have already absorbed it. And they can't release it because the Tumah is only D'Rabbanan, so in that case you have to eat it inside Yerushalayim. Okay? When you redeem it, the redemption is not about redemption of the right, so you must still eat the chulin inside Yerushalayim. Rabbi Zira said, Hada Tamra, this teaches us, as we just mentioned, Ma'aser Sheni Shechniso Aminashalo to Spesenu Mechitzos, if you're bringing Ma'aser Sheni into the city of Yerushalayim with the intent that the wall should not grab onto it, it works. The ein mechitza tafasto. The wall's not going to grab onto it. Rabbi Yoina asked, Tor, the Dvar Torah. I don't understand. Yeah.
How can you have a kavanah that the walls won't toe face?
Yeah.
I thought it's automatic.
Because it's the right, so it's Tor. Doraisa, this stuff which Ketami is Vlada Tuma, it's tar. And nonetheless, Beis Shammai says, true, it's tar Midoraisa. But since Beis Hillel says, it's true, it's tar Midoraisa, but since your intent was that the wall should not grab onto it, they don't grab on. And that's why I can redeem it and take it back and outside Yerushalayim. So it means even Ma'aser Sheni, which is absolutely tar. Because there's no distinction Doraisa. That which touches the Vlada Tuma is Doraisa. Okay. Yes. What did you want to say? Yeah, I'm just thinking now. The Rambam does paskin like Bar Kapora. That Rishon, that which touches the Rishon is only the Rabbana. But I'm thinking maybe this is maybe Taka. I thought it was obviously mind-boggling thing. But I was thinking now aloud, maybe the Rambam only holds away by Ma'aser Sheni. In other words, by Chulin and Ma'aser Sheni. Is that Rishon is not Matami Doraisa. But by Truma and by Kachim, which are holier than Ma'aser Sheni, then maybe if the Rishon does make Sheni Doraisa. Okay? I'm not sure. I looked it up this afternoon in the Rambam. I didn't pay that much attention to it. I just saw the Rambam does possibly Bar Kapara in Hilchos Ma'aser Sheni. But maybe it's taka only in Hilchos Ma'aser Sheni, not in the rest of Shas. In other words, the Ma'aser Sheni, and not rest of Shas meaning I mean anything more severe than Ma'aser Sheni. That by Truma, maybe a Rishon does make Sheni Doraisa. And so certainly by Kachim Rishon makes Sheni by Doraisa, only not by Ma'aser Sheni. I don't know. I'd have to look it up again.
It makes sense because you said bodily this didn't come up.
Right.
So
yeah.
It only comes up in Ma'aser Sheni.
Only comes up Ma'aser Sheni, right? So it could be the rest of Shas is Taka Doraisa. I'm not sure. If there's anybody says something here, maybe he matches it.
That was his job. Maybe you're a Sheni Hebrew. He's Asel Ro'oil his Kiyim. That's why he's
He Bechlau changes the entire pshat Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Boo! I don't like what he does. He says that even Bar Kapara holds Vlada Tuma is Doraisa. It's talking about here a scenario which the Vlada Tuma is not Doraisa. So about a case where the Vlada Tuma is a D'Rabbanan. That's certainly not Pashup Shai, and that's not how the Rambam learns. I don't like what he says. What was he saying?
And so they gave him money. So therefore he got a job, and if he couldn't do this job, he was get it done. So there was competition. Therefore he lost his job. In other words, the other kind of guy who is maybe he didn't have a job. He's unemployed.
He's telling you that
He's unemployed.
Don't think visual is a concept where
No.
you have to go ahead and just
I don't see him speaking.
I'm just saying this case, it's not more
Okay, I don't know. It could be specifically Ma'aser Sheni, not in Truma. It's a good issue to discuss, but not now. Let's go back to more. Rabbi Yehuda Tor Dvar Torah. Mr. Zuger, do you have a face? Tor Dvar Torah. Vat Amar Tochein. I don't understand. So, how can you say that? He argues Rabbi Siro. He says, how can you say that something which is Torah D'Oraisa, the individual brings into the Yerushalayim can reserve the right to actually bring it back out again? In other words, to prevent the walls of Yerushalayim from taking hold of it. So he says, Elokini, this is the way to understand Beis Hillel. It's not that you're allowed to take it out, redeem it and take it out. What it means is, Elo'avaru pedo padui. If you transgressed and did redeem it, it is a valid redemption. Okay, so it's not he doesn't really make it any better, because he says, if it's Oraisa, you can't reserve the right, so Lichora, Well, it does make it better. Well, we can never reserve the right for Yerushalmi not to absorb the Ma'aser Sheni. But even though Raisa, but the Evid, if you redeem Ma'aser Sheni, although you're not supposed to, once it enters Yerushalmi, it's a valid redemption. So that's what we're talking about over here. But the Evid, if you went and you did it, that it's good, the redemption does work. Okay. Rabbi Yaakov de Rumia. Rabbi Yaakov, I guess, of Rome. Boy, kumi Rabbi Yossi. As for Rabbi Yossi, nitma chutz Yerushalayim. If Ma'aser Sheni became Tomei outside Yerushalayim, v'nichnas, and then entered Yerushalayim, lo yetze, it shouldn't ever be able to leave Yerushalayim. Shelo you omrim ra'inu Ma'aser Sheni nichnas Yerushalayim v'yotze. We never, people shouldn't say, we saw Ma'aser Sheni enter Yerushalayim, then it came out again. So how could Beis Shammai allows when it became Tomei with Ava Tuma outside Yerushalayim to take it back outside Yerushalayim? Furthermore, the Reb Chaim Kanievsky brings down from the Rash Tziruleo an additional component in this question. And Me'ato, this is not in your Gemara. Me'ato lo yipada. Why can you redeem it all together? Shelo yu omrim ra'inu Ma'aser Sheni nichnas Yerushalayim v'nifta. People shouldn't be able to say, we saw Ma'aser Sheni come to Yerushalayim and redeemed. Says, well, I'll tell you the answer to both questions. Now back to the Gemara itself. Kol yotze li yotze. You know what? We're concerned.
Actually, you're paying example.
That's right. You went and you made.
I don't like it. 1 second.
He called the Rafuna like Rafuna. He have asi dinu l'kami when a din came before him.
Melted.
Okay, I understand. All right. Kol yotze li yotze vein kol yotze li pidyon. Means it's like this. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel allowed you to take even Beis Shammai allowed you to take Ma'aser Sheni, which became Tomei outside Yerushalayim. Even Beis Shammai allowed it became Tomei with an Avatuma outside Yerushalayim. Beis Hillel only allowed it became Beis Hillel allowed in all cases. They only precluded it in a case where it became Tomei with a Vlada Tuma inside Yerushalayim. But everybody agreed in certain cases. In one case you can take it out, and there's machlokas in 2 other cases. I really should make a chart of this, but let me try and say it outside in a way which is clear. There are 4 possible cases. Tomei with an Av outside and inside, and Tomei with a Vlad outside and inside, right? So Beis Shammai says in 3 of those cases you have to, even after redeem it, you have to leave it in Yerushalayim and eat in Yerushalayim. The only case where after you redeem it, you can take it outside Yerushalayim as it came Tomei with an Av outside Yerushalayim. Because anyway, it had 2 strikes against it before it started. Beis Hillel holds the exact opposite. Beis Hillel says that the only time you have to leave it inside Yerushalayim is the case where it came Tomei inside with a Rishon L'Tuma. But in any other case, you can take it outside Yerushalayim after you redeem it. So now Rabbi Yaakov de Rumia is asking a 2-fold question. He's asking why in the cases where we allow you to be Yotze, to have an exit, we allow you to have an exit. And he's asking also why in the cases where we allow you, why Bichlal do we allow you to, according to the Rash Tziruleu's edition, why do we allow you to redeem it altogether? We shouldn't allow you to redeem it, right? People are going to see it. Everybody agrees you can redeem. You must redeem it in all cases. Everybody agrees to redeem it. Use the money to buy more Ma'aser Sheni, and this you eat as chut. Says let it rot like Truma, which became Tomei. People are not going to know that this Ma'aser Sheni became Tomei. They're just going to see redeeming, and they're going to get the wrong idea. So we have to answer both questions. So in order to answer both questions like this, first of all, as far as taking outside Yerushalayim, people know why you're taking outside Yerushalayim. They'll inquire. They'll see, the uncle's taking Ma'aser Sheni outside Yerushalayim. Gee, wonder what happened. And they'll find out that it became Tomei. So that's okay. On the other hand, he says, why is Pidyon not a problem? Why is redemption not a problem? Because nobody knows you redeemed it. They see you eating it, they assume you're eating Ma'aser Sheni, right? They assume it's still Ma'aser Sheni. They assume it's, and therefore what's so bad? They don't know that there's something untoward going on. So therefore, in both cases, we don't have a problem. Why the case where it can leave Yerushalmi leave is because in those places there's a call. People know why it's leaving, and people are not going to learn the wrong thing out. And why cases where we do allow you to redeem is because people don't know about the pidyon. And people are just going to assume that what you're eating is bona fide Ma'aser Sheni, and they won't question that perhaps you redeem Ma'aser Sheni illicitly. Okay? Says more further. Rabbi Chia Barada, boy, come Rabbi Mona.
What?
Mr. Zuger, still with me? Last line. And your Gemara. Rabbi Chia Barada, boy, come Rabbi Mona, he asked for Rabbi Mona. Nidma vivlada tuma. What happens? This mamashel, an unlucky guy. His stuff became tummy with the vlada tuma, upido, and redeemed it. The chaz of a nidma, and decides the rabbanan, and then he went back and redeemed, went back and became tummy with an avatuma. Right?
First tumor was outside Yerushalmi.
Makes no difference. He redeemed it. But interesting, this redemption is a work d'oraisa?
They definitely blind eyes.
No, does this redemption work d'oraisa? No. D'oraisa, it's still true. It's still Ma'aser Sheni, right? It's still Ma'aser Sheni. Now it becomes, but you redeemed it. You paid money for it. Now it touches an avatuma. Now it lost its status of Ma'aser Sheni d'oraisa. Has to redeem it again now. On a d'oraisa level. So can he use the same money? The same coins for the redeem.
It really blind.
What?
Why would somebody want
Coins will become tummy. That's what Gemara says. Very good. Next word it says Namar, but it should be Omarle. He said to him, Imayu Amos Yishonak Skayomos, if the first one is still around, Mechal Aleim, you can redeem on them. You're correct. Because only one of the redemptions are.
When you redeem the money in Kedusha.
The money originally had Kedusha D'Rabbanan. I mean, it's like Hefker based on Hefker. The money originally was used the rabbinic redemption process, which didn't work the Oraisa. So now, when you use it again, it's getting Kedusha D'Oraisa. That's what's happening. Right. So, you also shows Kayomos, Mechal on them. And if not, Ein Mechal, now it's Mechal on them. Vein Lokin. However, it's a very interesting thing. And the Ridbaz goes to town on this. What happens if you use this money and abuse it? You know, you don't use it properly. I forget what you use it in a bathhouse, right? Use it to pay your bills. So you should be flogged for locating misappropriating Ma'aser Sheni money. So you're not flogged. Not on the first money, below both shnios. Now, not on the first money, I can understand because it's only the Rabbanan. But what about the second money? So the Ridbaz says, in order to prevent people considering a redemption to Rabbanan as being of less significant stature than a redemption d'oraisa, Chazal took away the malchus on the second one. They made it less of a punishable offense. In order to raise up the redemption requiring mid'Rabbanan, they put down the redemption requiring mid'oraisa. I don't know. I guess they had mercy. I don't know why they flog him twice, you're saying. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Rabbi Yonah boy. Aflo Kerke. Rabbi Yonah asked, this question comes somewhat out of left field. At least according to Ridba's interpretation. This is talking about there's a law which we learned through our Mishnah that a mechitza, the walls of Yerushalmi absorb the Ma'aser Sheni. So there's a halacha we're going to learn right in next Mishnah. See the next Mishnah? Skip to the next Mishnah for a moment. It's 2 lines down. Halokel kuach bekesef meiser. Something which was bought with meiser money. Shenitma, which became tamei. Yipada should be redeemed. Rabbi Yehuda Omer yikaver. Rabbi Yehuda says it should be buried. Okay, so be that as it may, what if the L'kuach B'Kesef Meiser did not become Tomei? That which you bought with Meiser money did not become Tomei. So you're not allowed to redeem it. It's not redeemable. The question is, what happens if it became Tomei? Does it also have the same status as be Tomei Dafka with an Ava Tumah according to Beis Shammai? And Dafka outside Yerushalayim in order to redeem it? Or and according to Beis Hillel, it could be even Vlada Tumah as long as it's Vlada Tumah outside Yerushalayim? Or are they different parameters? In other words, is L'kuach the same thing as Mechitzos? Our Mishnah discussed the parameters of where it became Tamei and with what it became Tamei vis-a-vis the walls of Yerushalayim. The question is whether the same parameters apply to that which is acquired with Ma'aser Sheni money, and the Gemara says, Kashem Shner Mechitza, whatever parameters are stated by walls, Kach Never V'Lakuach, the same parameters are stated by acquisitions as well. Okay? Again, the walls of Yerushalayim find a parallel in that which is acquired with Ma'aser Sheni money. So Ma'aser Sheni money, so that which is acquired also has to have the same parameters of Ava Tumah, Vlada Tumah, depending whether we're only like Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Okay, says the Mishnah further. That which is acquired with Ma'aser money. Sheniva becomes Tamei. He put that, it can be redeemed. Rabbi Yehuda says it's buried. Rabbi Yehuda said to Rabbi Yehuda, my Ma'aser Sheni atzmo shenifta, we don't stand you. The Ma'aser Sheni itself gets tamei. How nifta can be redeemed? How l'kuach b'kesef Ma'aser, that which is acquired with Ma'aser money, shenitma, which then became tamei. Ain't no din but there's not a kavachor. They can get redeemed. It's even more subject to redemption. So he said to them, no. It's not comparable, not just because you say by Ma'aser Sheni itself, which can be redeemed even when it's tar. And even when you're far away from Yerushalayim. Well, even when it's tar, when it's far away from Yerushalayim. Because the Ma'aser, will you say the same thing with that which is acquired with Ma'aser money? It can't be ever redeemed just because it's far away from Yerushalayim if it's Tohar. So therefore he says even if it came Tomei, there's no redemption, has to be buried. Okay? Dr. Spinelli, you have it? Tzvi should lokho b'kesef Ma'aser. You bought a tzvi, a deer, with Ma'aser money. Umeis, and it died before you got to eat it. So guess what? You can't eat it. Right? Drop dead. You cover Aidei Oro. How do you bury it? Together with its hide. You can't even get redemption or pleasure from its hide. It's also by no, since it kicked the bucket. Rabbi Shimon Meri Podeh. Rabbi Shimon says it can be redeemed. Now, Lokho Chai, here the Gra is a different girsa. Let's read it. I'll read the way it says in Mishnah and tell you what the Gra says. Lokho Chai, you took it alive, bought it alive, Ushchato, and then you shechted it, Venitma, and then it became tamei after you shechted it, so it is real meat, then it became tamei. You podeh. You can be poded. Now here he changes it. He adds the words to Gra. Divi Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon is consistent. He holds you can redeem it. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yikaver. Rabbi Yossi says you have to bury it. Now the question is why you have to bury it. So he holds that he holds that the machlokas is the whether you need to have hamoda v'arocha by Ma'aser Sheni for animals. Mr. Zuger, if you redeem, I know you're here. You're caffeine free. That's the problem. The halacha is that normally when you redeem kachim, the way you do it is you have to stand up the animal. If you can't stand up the animal, hamota, stand up arocha and estimate its value, you can't redeem it. So Shai started apply also to Ma'aser Sheni money. That's machlokas here. Ma'aser Sheni animals. Sorry. Of course, deer you can't bring as korban anyway, right? But the Shai is when you redeem it, you have to stand it up and evaluate it before you redeem it or not. So that's why we have a question, even though it's shechted. Right? You're shechted, obviously. And only can't tell me after shechita. The question is whether you can redeem it or not is based on whether we need hamada v'arocha in order to redeem it or do not need so. Okay? L'cho shachut. If you bought the Ma'aser Sheni, however, you bought the deer when it's already venison. It's already shechted. V'nitma, then it became Tomei. Harelo compares. Of course we can redeem it in that case, right? Because it wasn't acquired. When it's acquired alive, so we have machlokas, maybe in order to redeem it, it still has to be alive in order to do Hamoda v'Arocha. But if it was acquired dead, then when you acquired already, it was not susceptible to Hamoda v'Arocha. So therefore, when it came Tomei, you redeem without standing it up and evaluating it. Okay? It's got to be acquired as steak on the hoof in order to redeem it standing as steak on the hoof. So acquired as steak on the plate, you don't have to stand it up because obviously it didn't have ever that quality. Okay? Now, this is a new issue. Hamashu kanka l'Ma'aser Sheni. You loaned your barrel to Ma'aser Sheni. You know, your Ma'aser Sheni is wine. You loaned the barrel to it. Aval pisha gofon. Even though you covered the barrel, you sealed it. Lo kana Ma'aser, the Ma'aser Sheni does not acquire the barrel. It doesn't become teva wine. Actual gofon. You haven't yet covered the barrel. That lo kana Ma'aser. Until that point, Ma'aser doesn't acquire the barrel. Misha gofon. Once you cover the barrel, kana Ma'aser. If you designate all the wine in the barrel as Ma'aser Sheni, then includes the barrel. And then when you redeem it, you have to redeem both the wine and the value of the barrel. There's an interesting thing which doesn't really come up in modern day American law. The truth is when you buy a cereal box, you're also buying the box. It adds to the price. When you buy a coffee jar, you're also buying the jar, right? That's the price. But we never think of it as being separate. Well, in the old days, or for that matter, anytime you have returnable or recyclable, reusable bottles, so it becomes an issue. In other words, when you have to pay, when you have to redeem the Ma'aser Sheni, let's say the Ma'aser Sheni grape juice, do you still have to pay the 5 cents to redeem the bottle? Or is the bottle not part of Ma'aser Sheni? That's what we're talking about here. What's the status of the bottle, the container, vis-a-vis the Ma'aser Sheni contains? Okay? So if you call the if you designate Ma'aser Sheni only once the barrel was sealed, so then the barrel itself becomes part and parcel of the Ma'aser Sheni status. And then when you try, you have to redeem the barrel from Ma'aser Sheni. You want to use the barrel for chulin? You got to redeem it. Okay, that's what it's saying here. Ad shelo gofon. Now, besides that, before you close the barrels, olos be'echad u'meah. Then, as long as there are 101, if you have one of truma and 100 of chulin, so it's mevatel. The 100 of chulin are mevatel, one of truma. Misha gofon. Once you seal them ready, then mikachos b'choshen. Then, if one of them is truma and 500 or 600 of them are not truma, it still losses them. Why is that? Because once it's sealed, it's called a davar choshev. It's a significant thing. A davar choshev, even in 1,000, is not batel. Okay, so
Because it's a kli. You made a kli out.
A sealed barrel, right? Specifically because it's a sealed barrel, because that makes it very, very, very significant. Actual guffa. Also, before you seal the barrels, you take truma from one of the barrels and all of the barrels. Mishagafan, once you seal the barrels, then there's no connection between them. You only get truma for each one internally. What happens if you want to reunite them? How do you reunite them? You have to open them, but not just open them, you have to pour them all back into the common a wine well. All you have to do is open up the barrels. Do not have to pour them back.
They have to be physically in the same room.
What?
They have to be physically in the same wine
Yeah.
center.
No, not necessarily.
They could be in different parts.
I think so. But when is this true? Mokum shadakli moker stumos, where you normally sell them closed. Avamokum shadakli moker psuchos, the case that normally sold open. Lo yatzel kan. In that case, the vessel does not go out to become chulin. I forgot what that means. Yeah, Chaim Karievsky says it's not accurate, the Mishnah here. What it means is, it's funny, even the Mishnayos in Zroim are affected by the lack of Bavli. So it says that it means like this. It says if it's a place where normally it's sold open, the barrel's sold open, so the barrel doesn't become chulin, where the barrel was, where the case is really an obscure case. I don't even know how to explain it here. Somehow the way to explain this line is, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but the way to explain it is that here, if you normally sell the barrels open, then the barrel doesn't become Ma'aser Sheni. Even though it says Lo Yotza Kan L'Chulin, what it means is, in other cases, the barrel would not become Chulin. Here what it means is the barrel doesn't become Ma'aser Sheni.
Because it never became a kli.
Right, it never became because of kli, because it was never sealed. Yes, that's right. So that's what it means. But again, the language here is a funny language. But the principle we understand. Here also the Mishnah is messed up. It says you want to be machir yourself. It's really, the word chumrah is not appropriate here. What it means here, if you want to conduct yourself, limkor b'midah, you wanted to. Yeah, what we can do. Let's just amend the Mishnah. Big deal. Let's read like this. Go back on it. Then the since it's never sealed, so the container never becomes Ma'aser Sheni. It's always chulin. Let's take out the law, then everything is zonky dory. Okay, similarly, the word chamachmer, as I said, is inappropriate. It means if you made a decision, limkor b'midah, you made a decision to sell measure by measure, not to sell whole barrels. So then too, yotza kan l'chulin. Then of course the barrel doesn't become Ma'aser Sheni, because when can the barrel become part and parcel of the Ma'aser Sheni? When it's included, but we are selling it by measure, so then it's not included. Rabbi Shimon Omer. Rabbi Shimon says, now, Rabbi Shimon is going on a brisa, which is not mentioned in our Mishnah. It's mentioned later in the Gemara. The brisa says, if I tell you, I'm selling you an entire barrel for your Ma'aser Sheni. You want to buy him a barrel of wine for Ma'aser Sheni purposes. I'll say the entire barrel, except for a revius, except for a few ounces. So in that case, the barrel does become part and parcel of Ma'aser Sheni. Why is that? Because I retained ownership in a few ounces, and to get with that few ounces, it's the barrel. So too says Rabbi Shimon, if I say I'm selling you the barrel except for its barrel, so except for the container, so then the container also remains clean as well. That's that kind of concept. Okay? My time with Rabbi Yehuda. What's the logic? Rabbi Yehuda says that you can never redeem, even if it comes Tomei, stuff which is bought with Ma'aser Sheni money. Not the Ma'aser Sheni itself, but stuff that's bought with Ma'aser Sheni money. Why? Says more. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. Kesef Rishon, lo Kesef Sheni. You only get one time to use money, not twice. So if it once already used money and he bought more fruit, then there's no redemption for the second fruit. That's why it becomes tummy. It's got to be buried. Says, well, wait a minute. Well, Gemara is implying question. This is really the answer. So why do you get the kav v'chomer? Well, why did they discuss kav v'chomer? Rabbi Yehuda and Rabban had a kav v'chomer. He said, the Rabban said to him, if Ma'aser Sheni itself can redeem, certainly that which is acquired Ma'aser Sheni. And Rabbi Yehuda responded to kav v'chomer and said, no, Ma'aser Sheni itself can redeem because it can redeem in other places outside Yerushalayim. So that which is acquired with Ma'aser Sheni cannot be redeemed in other places, so it's not comparable. Why just tell him it's pasuk? Why is he addressing the kav v'chomer? Just telling the pasuk. Kesef Rishon lo Kesef Sheni. Says our Elmi Madi, you know, Mesivan Lemi kav v'chomer. Since they asked him a kav v'chomer, who mostly Lemi kav v'chomer? He answers with his own kav v'chomer, meaning logic in turn. But Nahil actually owes it to pasuk himself. Rabbi Yosef Shir Rabbi Yochanan said, the opinion which holds that if the deer die, you have to bury it. The deer you bought Ma'aser Sheni money, you have to bury it. Even if it died, even if it shechted it, and it became tamei, we said he can't redeem it. That's because they hold that this deer is like kachei berekabayis liton amor varocha. Because it requires Hamorah to be stood and redeemed, and once it's dead, of course, it can't be stood up. Rabbi Yirmiyah, boy, called Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked for Rabbi Zira. Behemoth Tmei Maushi Titon Hamorah Varocha. Does Behemoth Tmei require Hamorah Varocha? What's the law? You are makdish a Behemoth Tmei, and it remained alive, a pig. Now you want to redeem it. Does that have to be? Does it require Hamorah Varocha? Amalei, he said, of course not. Ilule de Amar Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Yochanan chayat. Where Rabbi Yossi and then Rabbi Yochanan, not to say that a chayat Torah, meaning a deer, requires Hamorah Varocha. I would have said Eina Tuna Hamorah Varocha. Behemoth Tmei, if that's the case, certainly by Behemoth Tmei, where they never said this chiddush, lo, for sure you're not going to require Hamorah Varocha. Right? Rabbi Hillel said, Vitani can have a price like this. It says, V'im b'veima tmeo poda berkecha. It says, if it's an impure animal, redeem it with its value. Ma v'veima tmeo miuchedes. You know what? Let's leave this for next week, because this is going to be complicated. It's going to take us a little bit too long. So start from Rabbi Hillel on Monday.